You already feel it on the first tee. You swing the same way you always have, you catch it clean, and the ball just dies out there. 40 yards short of where your buddy landed with the same swing. And you tell yourself it's your age. It isn't. Here's what I found after weeks of digging, and it stopped me cold. Most men over 50 are playing a golf ball that is physically fighting against their swing, not helping it, fighting it. And the reason has nothing to do with your body getting older and everything to do with a number printed on that box that nobody ever told you to read. I want to walk you through a trail that starts in 1898, runs through a research lab that tested this with real numbers, and ends with a trick you can do this weekend with a ball you already own and a warm cupboard. There's one specific thing at the end, tied to a man named Coburn Haskell, that I never heard anywhere else, and once you know it, you cannot unsee it. And I promise you this works for the exact swing you have right now, slower than it used to be and all. I have to be honest with you. I didn't start caring about this for noble reasons. My father-in-law, 73 years old, kept complaining every Sunday that he'd lost his game. I watched him hit one, and his contact was beautiful, pure, and the ball just sat down like a wet sponge. That afternoon, standing on the edge of the ninth fairway, I picked up his ball, read the tiny print on the sleeve, and I thought, wait a minute, something is very wrong here. That was the moment I started pulling the thread. Let me tell you the first thing that didn't add up. I always believed a golf ball was a golf ball. You buy the good one, the one the professionals play, the one that costs the most, and you get the best result. That's how everything else in life works, right? Pay more, get more. So when I started reading about golf balls, I expected the expensive ones to simply be better for everybody. That is not what the number said. Not even close. The word that kept coming up was compression, and nobody at any store had ever said that word to me. Compression is a rating of how much a golf ball squishes when you hit it. Think of it like the springiness of the ball. A high compression ball is firm and hard. It barely gives. A low compression ball is soft and squishes easily under force. That squish, that split second of the ball flattening against your club face and springing back is where your distance comes from. It's stored energy. It's a slingshot. Now here's the part that made me sit up. To make a firm, high compression ball actually squish and release that energy, you need to hit it hard. Very hard. You need serious club head speed to compress that ball fully. If you don't swing fast enough, that firm ball never fully compresses. It never gives you the slingshot. You're basically hitting a rock. All your energy goes into the ball, and the ball just refuses to give it back because you didn't hit it hard enough to unlock it. And which ball is the firmest, highest compression ball on the shelf? The premium one. The tour ball. The one the professionals endorse. The one you've been buying because you assumed it was the best. I found the numbers, and they're brutal in their simplicity. The most famous tour ball on the market carries a compression rating right around 90. It's built for players who swing the driver at 110, 115 miles per hour. That's tour speed. That's a young, powerful athlete. Meanwhile, the average man over 60 is swinging his driver somewhere between 70 and 85 miles per hour. And a lot of men over 70 are down around 70 or below. Do you see the mismatch? You are swinging 75, and you're playing a ball engineered to perform at 110. That ball will never compress for you. It cannot. You are physically incapable of unlocking the energy inside it, not because you're weak, but because it was never built for a human swinging at your speed. So one clue clicked into place for me right there. My father-in-law wasn't losing his game. He was hitting a ball that was, for his swing, essentially a stone. But that only raised a bigger question, and this one bothered me for days. If this is true, if it's this simple, then why does every senior I know still play these balls? Who told them to? And why did nobody ever explain the one number that would have saved them? That question sent me back a lot further than I expected, all the way back to the very birth of the modern golf ball. Because to understand why compression matters so much, I had to understand what a golf ball actually is inside. And the story starts with a young man tinkering in 1898. His name was Coburn Haskell. He was an American, and before him, Golfers played something called a gutty, a gutta percha ball. It was made of dried sap from a tropical tree, molded into a solid, dense, unforgiving sphere. It was, essentially, hard rubber all the way through. And it flew like a brick. You needed a blacksmith's arms to move it any real distance. The average player of the 1800s struggled terribly with it because it had no give. No spring, no compression, in the modern sense. Then in 1898, Coburn Haskell, working with a man from the B.F. Goodrich Company, did something that changed everything. He took a small, solid core and wound rubber thread around it under tension, tightly, layer after layer, then wrapped a cover around the whole thing. He patented it, and by the early 1900s, this wound rubber ball took over the entire sport. Why? Because it had spring. It compressed and released. Suddenly, the average golfer could hit the ball farther with the same swing because the ball itself was doing some of the work, storing energy and giving it back. Read that again. Because this is the heart of the whole mystery. From the very beginning, the entire point of the modern golf ball was to help the ordinary player get more out of an ordinary swing. That was the invention. That was the breakthrough. The ball was supposed to be your partner, not your opponent. So how on earth did we get to a world where the most prized, most expensive ball is one that punishes an ordinary swing? How did we flip the entire purpose of Coburn Haskell's invention on its head? That's where the trail turned dark, and I started to understand that somebody, somewhere, had a very good reason for keeping this quiet. Because here's what happened over the decades. As professional golf became a televised spectacle, the ball manufacturers realized something powerful. They didn't need to sell the ball that helped the average man. They needed to sell the ball the champion played on Sunday afternoon, the ball you saw win the tournament. And so the marketing machine spent decades, and I mean decades, training every one of us to believe one simple lie, that the best ball for the best player is the best ball for you. But it isn't. It is almost the exact opposite. The tour ball is a specialized tool built for a specialized swing, tuned for players who generate enormous speed and want to control spin around the greens on lightning-fast professional courses. In the hands of a man swinging 75 miles an hour, that same ball robs him of distance, gives him a harder feel, and offers him almost none of the control benefits he'll never swing fast enough to access. I went looking for hard research, not opinions, and I found it in the independent testing labs, the ones that use robotic swing machines to remove all human error. They set a mechanical arm to swing at a slow speed, around 85 miles an hour and below, the exact range where most senior golfers live. Then they fired both types of ball, the firm tour ball and a soft, low-compression ball, off the identical swing. The results were consistent and they were significant. At those slower swing speeds, the low-compression ball flew noticeably farther. We're not talking about a couple of feet. Depending on the test, players in that speed range were picking up meaningful yardage, sometimes 10, 15, even up to a reported 20 extra yards off the driver, simply by switching from a high compression ball to one built for their speed. Same swing, same body, same effort, different ball, more distance, 20 yards. Think about what 20 yards does to your entire round. It turns a long par 4 you can never reach into one you can. It shortens every approach shot. It takes the fairway wood out of your hands and puts a comfortable iron there instead. It's the difference between chasing the group ahead of you and playing right alongside them. And here's the compression number you need to burn into your memory, because this is the one nobody told you. If your driver swing speed is below about 85 miles per hour, and for most men over 60 it is, you want a golf ball with a compression rating under about 70. The softest ones on the market run all the way down into the 30s and 40s. There are excellent balls out there with a compression around 35 to 50 that cost you around $20 to $25 a dozen, half the price of the tour ball, that will fly farther for you and feel softer coming off the club. Half the price, more distance. The exact reversal of everything the marketing trained you to believe. Now I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now, because I thought it too. You're thinking, that's fine for a guy who plays 3 times a week and has a smooth swing, but my swing is a mess. I only get out once in a while. I'm not some athlete. This fancy compression stuff isn't for a guy like me. I want to stop you right there because you have it backwards. This matters more for you, not less. The slower and less consistent your swing, the more you need the ball to do the work for you. The lower your speed, the bigger the gap between what a tour ball steals from you and what a softball gives back. You don't need a good swing to use this. You need exactly the swing you already have. And you don't need to spend a dime to test whether I'm telling you the truth. Here's what I want you to do, and you can do it with what's in your bag right now. Next time you're out, bring one of those firm premium balls you've been playing and borrow or buy a single sleeve of a soft, low compression ball. On a calm day, hit 2 or 3 of each off the same tee and just watch where they land. Don't measure, don't overthink it. Your own eyes will tell you the story in about 5 minutes. That's all it took to convince my father-in-law, a stubborn man who argued with me the entire drive to the course and went silent the moment he saw the soft ball sail past his old one. But even after I proved the compression trick worked, something still nagged at me, because I noticed his distance changed from day to day, even with the same ball. Some mornings the soft ball flew beautifully. Other mornings it came up short again. Same ball, same swing, different result. And that inconsistency told me I was still missing a piece. There was one more clue on this trail, and it turned out to be the strangest one of all. And they know this. The engineers absolutely know this. The compression numbers are printed in their own technical data, yet the entire weight of the advertising points the average older golfer straight toward the one ball that hurts him most, because he'll pay the most for it. A premium tour ball can cost you nearly $50 a dozen, and you lose a few every round in the trees and the water, so you're buying them again and again all year long, all while they quietly cost you distance on every single swing. That's the part that made me angry. Not that a better option existed, but that the better option was cheaper, and they had every reason to make sure you never went looking for it. Now, I went through every bit of this research the hard way, months of digging, cross-checking, and testing, and eventually I realized the whole framework I had built up piece by piece was something I needed to write down before I lost it. That became a series called First Wins, Sharp Habits, and the Full System. 3 short reads, each one built around the idea that recovering practical knowledge you were never supposed to lose is faster than you think, and the first small win tends to unlock everything that follows. If you want to have the full trail in your hands, the compression numbers, the temperature research, the history, and the habits that actually hold, you can find it linked in the description below. It is the same channel, just in a form you can sit with at your own pace. So let me tell you what the better option actually is, because I tested this trail all the way to the numbers, and the numbers do not lie. The last piece had nothing to do with which ball you buy. It had to do with what happens to that ball before you ever hit it. And this is the part that sounds too simple to be real until you see the science behind it. It started when I read an offhand complaint in an old golfing discussion, a man saying his ball felt dead on cold mornings but came alive in the afternoon heat. Everybody told him it was in his head, but it wasn't in his head. It's physics, and it's been documented for a very long time. A golf ball is full of materials, rubber and polymer cores that behave differently at different temperatures. When a golf ball is cold, the core stiffens. It gets harder. It loses its bounce, its resilience, its ability to spring back. In other words, a cold golf ball behaves like a higher compression ball, the exact thing you're trying to get away from. When that ball is warm, the core softens and comes alive, springing back the way it was designed to, releasing its energy freely. I dug for real numbers on this, and the figure that kept surfacing is striking. Testing has shown a golf ball can lose roughly 2 yards of carry for every 10 degrees the ball's temperature drops. Think about that. A ball that's been sitting in the trunk of your car overnight in 50-degree weather versus a ball that's a comfortable 70 or 80 degrees can differ by many yards on the very same swing. That was the missing piece. That was why my father-in-law's distance jumped around from morning to afternoon. His ball was literally a different ball depending on how warm it was. And this connects straight back to compression, which is why it fascinated me so much. A cold ball raises its own effective compression. So a senior playing a cold premium ball on a cool morning is getting hit twice. Once by choosing a ball too firm for his swing, and again by that firm ball getting even firmer in the cold. It's a double penalty, and almost nobody knows it's happening. So here's the finale. Here's the thing, tied all the way back to Coburn Haskell's wound rubber ball from 1898, the invention that was always meant to give the ordinary player more spring, more life, more distance. The old players understood something we forgot. They understood that a golf ball is a living, breathing spring, and a spring performs best when it's warm and loose, not cold and stiff. They kept their gutties and their wound balls close to their bodies in cold weather. They knew. And you can do this weekend exactly what they did, with nothing but a warm spot in your house. The night before you play, take your golf balls out of the garage, out of the trunk, out of wherever they've gone cold, and bring them inside where it's warm. Keep them at comfortable room temperature. On a cold morning, put 2 balls in a pocket close to your body. And here's the trick the smart players use. You rotate them. You play one for a couple of holes while the second one warms in your pocket, then you switch, always putting the cooling ball back against your body and playing the warm one. You never hit a cold ball again, ever. That single habit, keeping your ball warm combined with playing a low compression ball matched to your slower swing, is the whole secret. 2 things. Both free or nearly free. Both completely hidden from you by a marketing story that wanted you buying the wrong ball at twice the price. You match the ball to your swing, and you keep that ball warm so it stays the soft, springy partner it was invented to be. That is how a 75-year-old man gets his distance back. Not from a new driver, not from lessons, not from working out, from a number on a box in a warm cupboard. Let me put the whole trail back together for you, because now every clue fits. Coburn Haskell invented the modern ball in 1898 to help the ordinary golfer by giving the ball itself spring and compression to do part of the work. For most of the 20th century, that idea held. Then television turned professional golfers into idols, and the ball makers realized they could sell the champion's firm, high-speed tour ball to millions of ordinary players who could never swing fast enough to benefit from it. They buried the one word compression that would have set you free, because that word would have sent you toward a cheaper ball that actually helped you. And on top of all that, they never bothered to mention that the cold itself was stealing your yards every chilly morning by making your ball even firmer than it already was. But somebody kept the knowledge alive. It survived in the robot testing labs, in the technical compression data the engineers publish but never advertise, in the old habits of players who warmed their balls against the cold. And now it's yours. You have it. The whole thing. I want you to notice how you feel right now, because this is the feeling that matters. It isn't just about golf. It's the quiet anger of realizing that something simple, something that was yours by right, got taken from you and sold back to you at a markup. You spent years believing your body failed you on that tee box. It didn't. You were handed the wrong tool and told it was the best one. And the moment you take back that one number and that one warm cupboard habit, you take back the game you thought you'd lost to age. If you're the kind of person who has always suspected that a lot of what we're sold is just common sense taken away and rented back to us, then you already understand what this channel is really about. It's not about golf balls. It's about all the everyday knowledge that used to be free and got buried under decades of things we were trained to buy instead. So here's what I want to know from you, and I'm asking directly because I read every single one of these. Go check the box or the sleeve of the golf ball you've been playing and find that compression number. Then tell me in the comments what it is and roughly how fast you think you swing. I want to see how many of you have been playing a 90 compression tour ball with a 70-mile-an-hour swing, because I have a feeling it's going to be most of you, and I want you to see it too. Leave that comment. It genuinely helps other people on this channel find out they're not alone. And if this pulled back the curtain for you even a little, subscribe and stand with the rest of us who are quietly recovering the practical knowledge somebody decided we shouldn't have for free. Because the next trail I'm following is about the golf grip, and I found something buried in an old equipment manual about why the grips you're sold wear out on a schedule, almost like they're meant to, and how the old players made a single grip last for years for pennies. You are not going to believe who profits when your hands slip on that club. But that's the next thread, and I'm still pulling it. Before you go, let me leave you with one more thing, because I don't want you walking away thinking this is complicated. It isn't. I met plenty of men during all this digging who told me they didn't want to become gearheads. They didn't want to study charts and specifications. They just wanted to play and enjoy their Saturday morning. I understand that completely. So let me make it as simple as it can possibly be. You do not need to measure your swing speed with a machine. Here's the honest rule of thumb I settled on after all of this. If you're a man over 60, or a woman of most any age, or frankly anyone who no longer bombs the ball the way they did at 30, you almost certainly belong on a low compression ball. Not sometimes. Not maybe. Almost certainly. The window of players who actually need a firm tour ball is narrow, and it's mostly filled with young, strong, fast-swinging athletes. If that's not you anymore, and it's not most of us, then the softball is your ball, full stop. You can stop agonizing over the decision. Go soft. And to make sure you're not fooled by a fancy name on the box, here's how to read past the marketing. Ignore the words they put on the front. Ignore distance and tour and professional and all of it. Turn the box over or look the ball up for 30 seconds and find the compression number. Under 70, you're in the right neighborhood. Down in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, even better for a slower swing. That single number tells you more truth than the entire front of the package. The front of the box is written to move product. That one number on the back is written by the engineers, and the engineers can't lie in the technical data even when the marketing department wishes they would. There's something else I noticed while I was testing all of this, and I want to give it to you because it surprised me. When I switched slower swinging players to the softer ball, they didn't just gain distance, they gained confidence, and the confidence gained them even more. Because when you feel that softer, more satisfying contact, and you watch the ball actually go somewhere, you stop making that tense, guilty overswing where you try to force distance out of a ball that won't give it. You relax, you swing smoother, and a smooth swing at 75 miles an hour beats a desperate lunge every single time. So the softball gives you distance twice, once from the physics and once from the calm it puts back in your swing. My father-in-law told me, weeks later, that for the first time in years he stepped onto the first tee without dread. That's not a small thing. That's the game coming back to a man. I keep coming back to Coburn Haskell, that tinkerer in 1898, winding rubber thread around a little core in a workshop, trying to build a ball that would give the everyday golfer a fighting chance. He'd be baffled, I think, to learn that more than a century later, the everyday golfer is being steered away from exactly the kind of springy, forgiving, energy-giving ball he invented, and toward a hard specialist ball that undoes his entire life's work. But that's what happened. The invention meant to help you got quietly turned into the thing that holds you back, and the only defense was a number nobody would say out loud. Now you know the number. Now you know the warm cupboard trick. Now you know the history and the science and exactly why it was hidden. The next time you stand on that first tee on a cool morning with a warm, soft ball you paid half price for, and you watch it fly past where your old ball used to die, I want you to remember that you didn't get younger. You just got the truth back. And the truth was always cheaper than the lie. So go find that compression number tonight. Warm your balls before your next round. Play the ball that was built for the swing you actually have, not the swing some athlete on television has. And tell me in the comments what you discover, because I promise you, once you see those extra yards with your own eyes, you're going to want to tell somebody. Make it me. I'll be reading. Still with me? Good. This video gave you the overview, but inside my membership, the Old Ways Circle, I pick up right where I left off. And in there you can ask me your own question, and a real person answers, me, not some machine. You won't be alone either, folks, just like you are already with us. Just point your phone's camera at the code on the screen. And if it's not for you, one click cancels it anytime.